Welcome everyone. This is Nichel Anderson, and I just want to go ahead and introduce you to a new feature that I'm offering on my podcast show where you can run ads, and that can be either a host read, that would be me reading your ad. Of course, it's a review process, and you can reach out to the contact information that would be in this podcast episode. Pretty much you can email me directly at info@nichelanderson.com. What's the benefits of it? Well, the benefits of it that you have me connected to your brand in a sense that I can be able to communicate that to my audience, and I can provide data points on the best time to run the ads and the placement. Normally it would be in the beginning or the end. Depending on what episode I'm doing, it could be even in the middle. So we can discuss that. And what this helps you is to have your brand broadcasted to my audience and expand your reach. So if you want more details, definitely check out the description where it provides that and the contact information. And do look out for other ways that you can connect and advertise on my shows. I have 2 podcast shows, and they have different demographics that we can kind of connect, or you can do both to expand that. I'm here to spread the journey and to influence and motivate at the same time, and I would love to see your brand connected with that, and we can create a partnership. All right. Welcome everyone. This is Nichel Anderson, and I'm your host for my podcast show, Surviving Your Journey Towards Success. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day and week. As I get ready to wrap up my season 9, 2025 to 2026, I wanted to focus on this particular episode. Now it is episode number 144, and it is entitled, What is the Power of Your Perspective for Mental Peace in Leadership? We're going to go ahead and get into that. Let me go ahead and say my prayer before we move forward. In this day, I give all praise to God, Jesus, blessing me, okay, to have this podcast show for the survivors of the journey that aims to inspire and motivate those on their journey, that they will continue to have joy for this peace of mind and to think to do forward moving action or positive energy vibes. So with that, they'll have sustained success. Hallelujah. Amen. All right, let's go ahead and we're going to get into this. I like the angle that I'm going to present about having a perspective when you're in leadership. Maybe not in leadership. Well, you can be leadership. You could be in leadership in your own household, okay? And this helps us to understand the importance of it. I like to term prestige leadership, and that helps because when people look up to you, they want to see how your decision making is. They want to see how you can connect with them, how you understand their problems. So I want to start the segment. The important point is that your perspective allows you to grow before your own understanding sets in for analysis, and then the thought prism, and then the wisdom that leads to speech of your analytical leadership assessment of the situation or the person. So therefore, it's important to have like a diversified perspective to then wrap around, as I like to say, to the 360 to formulate your response, your understanding, and then the assessment that leads to success. All right. The next segment I like to go to, of course, y'all, is the wisdom point number 2. Since we just covered the important point that I just went over, is when we can see the point of view from another, we allow ourselves to gain more insight, clarity, and precision in decision making. Now that is important for the effective and prestige leadership you're aiming for. And even if you're not aiming for and you don't realize it, we all have to be leaders in our lives to be successful, right? And for example, if there's like disagreements amongst the people that you work with, or even in your home environment, and there are some valid ideas and points that they're bringing up, some that you're not sure about. Now, when those are where you're not sure about the ideas or suggestions of how to move forward, you still want to be able to listen. Listening is going to be your number one talent, your number one skill set, to understand the perspective of what others, to be able to define your own once you get all the data. And sometimes people struggle to formulate their communication to share why their position is right. So by listening and understanding those key points, sometimes they emphasize some points of what they're trying to say. You want to make note of that, particularly they're repeating a particular word or phrase. The second point to that is that they might not be on the same page. It can reside from a negative type position, a negative way of seeing certain things, and then they have a lot of energy and what have you. They might be forceful in what they want to say, and they're not very clear in relaying it because you get the wrong vibe. You're going to know that because you're going to use your truth and logic test that adds up to the facts. Okay? Sometimes things is in the gray area, you're not really sure here and there, but pretty much if you use those 3 things that I just said, you will know if you can kind of use all of that, or you can't really kind of connect to what that person feels, if what they're saying is right or wrong, or how whatever the situation needs to go forward. So the pro tip is just to take notes along the way, or mental notes if you don't got a pen and pad, and then you're trying to understand what the other person is saying, why the person is passionate about it, or if they're very intense or what have you. Feel your intuition on that, or how to go on moving on, or supporting it, whatever that situation or topic is. So let's get further into this. So there's 3 parts that I like to go in my segment here on my episodes. It's basically why is this so? Well, perspective of others allow your mind to expand to new horizons that you might not be aware of. So listening skills, as I mentioned earlier, would be the prestige key method here. Now, the different angles of thought allows your leadership either in the boardroom or even at home, as I mentioned earlier, amongst your family, that can build some type of way that you will hone on those skills of listening and then be able to come back with your response of support or not. All right. But the secret sauce, here's the secret sauce. So the secret sauce is that you are building your empathy meter. Because when you have to disagree, when you have to expand whatever is being presented, and you have to understand their perspective on something, your empathy meter will go up. Your intuitive nature will know, I need to say it this way to frame it that way, so they'll understand my decision making of why. Leadership is always about your decisions of what you need to do, and how you're going to do it, how you're going to implement it, and what's the reasoning. Reasoning comes from our ability to have the perspective of all those that are inputting their information, their feelings about it, and so forth. And you're coming through and you have almost, like an outlines, but it's a summary. And that builds your empathy meter, because if you have a disagreement, like I mentioned, or anybody suggestion that you want to tweak it a bit, your perspective will know what to say, how to say it, and who to say it to. So who are we talking about? Pretty much, as I mentioned, this could be for someone that amongst the board. This can be their employees, or it can be, like I said, it could be a team, soccer team, and these skills is going to allow you to have less stress. Less stress give you mental peace. That's why I started this podcast now going on. Y'all, I'm about to hit my 10 years. Oh my God. To focus on the mental peace. Mental peace give you happiness and joyfulness. That's what you want on your journey. So my next segment, because I kind of went through, who are we talking about? The next one is strategies to succeed. Now, to be a leader, you must know all the players. To do that, you got to understand their behavior. Might end up being a psychiatrist at this point. However, it's important because with the perspective, you understand their emotional meter. You understand what they can handle, what they can't. That allows you to know who you're going to assign on which tasks, who deserves the role upgrade or who does not, who is actually bringing things that can move you forward. You always want to see who can actually move others forward. Those that stagnated, those that can't decide. That's a perspective to understand those key points, the words that they use. Most of the time we're using certain words, more than once because we're trying to, get to a certain end game. And that's the strategy to succeed, is to know who, what, and when. Showing the attention in the listening ability to understand, get you to the core root of what the other person is saying, to understand their perspective. That will increase your power of having a perspective that has empathy, that has the patience, that has the understanding of the anthological ability of that regard. It's like a deep dive, but you're being very strategic. You are being very specific, like a scientist in a way, but it's a fun scientist, okay? And then taking notes along the way. All right, I want to kind of move and pivot towards your task to dusk to dawn. And this is named after my mentor in history, which is Dr. W.B. Du Bois. Your task to dusk to dawn is you want to learn to perfect your emotional intelligence, to utilize the power of your perspective. That is to learn, listen, and understand. And then that gives the wisdom to measure up to what you need to say or write, okay? And that is going to outline your truth, the facts, and the logic. Utilizing this helps you to increase your power of influence. That's why I get to all this. That's why we're coming all the way here now. And it's tied to your influence, of your perspective, of your ability to have empathy, to connect, learn, and grow. All right. And it increases your decision making much more precise, faster. Not saying you have to be fast all the time, but pretty much if you either different roles that you're in or what have you, either at work or business or family, it reduces the stress, heals any type of disruption in your peace, and you gain into peace because you're able to make a decision faster in a way that of course everything is in balance, that is not prolonged. Prolonging can create anxiety, even depression, you know what I mean, and sadness, and it helps you to process it, and it's not being stressed over, which gives you the mental peace in your leadership. All right. And so that's taking notes, mental notes, or in the pad, and that helps you to grow and to succeed. Okay. And with that, I'm going to wrap this up with our motivational takeaway for you. You are the leader when you are aware of all the angles of the perspective of others, and to be able to come back to have your own perspective based on that knowledge of what people are feeling and saying and what they feel about it and what have you. It's the 360. And by doing that, you're reinvesting in your brand identity and of your leadership style. You're building your history, your patterns, of your decision making, and how you understand and listen to other perspective allows you to grow mentally, spiritually, what have you, professionally. And with that, your emotional heart grows as well, and you become a beacon for people that want to communicate, talk, connect, and grow. And that is how you define and understand your sustained success. All right. Thank you so much. Do check out my website. I do have different things going on. And next month, y'all, I'm wrapping up my season 9, getting ready for my season 10, starting in September, where I'm on summer break. I'm going to, of course, check in, and I appreciate everyone that has been following me. And do check out the different things that I have going on with Molay, and I appreciate everybody. So I appreciate everybody supporting my podcast and my dream and what the message that I wanted to do here on my Surviving Your Journey Towards Success. So with that, I'll talk to y'all in the next one.
We are restless. For a unity of our royalness. Nichel Anderson, mold of divinity. Empress. For a unity of our royalty. Nichel, leaders of who we are. Atlantis, never fall from greatness. We forever stand tall. Atlantis. Hey yo, Queen Empress, Nichel Anderson. We stand tall, never fall to the rise with wings of Atlanta. Power makers, we are restless. Bold mold of divinity. Nichel Anderson, for a unity of our royalness. Nichel Anderson, we never been, we rise to never end.